Welcome to the Fit Girl Magic podcast. If you are ready to find your inner magic, develop great habits, and a rock steady mindset to feel confident, comfortable, and fit in your body, you are in the right place. I am Kim Barnes Jefferson, and I'll be giving you weekly doses of health, fitness, and life tips sprinkled with humor and real talk. If you're ready to be consistent without the stress of perfection, magic makers, it's time to slip into your favorite pair of PJs, grab some coffee, kick back, and listen to today's show. This week's iTunes review is brought to you by Jackie O Jazz Hands. She writes a great, funny podcast about real topics we all struggle with. Kim gives great advice and support to people to live their best life. That just fills my heart. Thank you so much for taking the time to write me that 5-star review. And for those of you who have yet to leave that 5-star review, all you have to do is go on to iTunes or wherever you listen to this podcast and do the same thing, and I will read it on the air. So thank you so much, Jackie O Jazz Hands. It fills me up when I read those reviews from the heart. Enjoy the podcast. Hey, Magic Makers. I am welcoming you back to another episode of the Fit Girl Magic podcast. And here's the episode that we're going to really focus on ditching our guilt. Right? I bring in real talk about how to stay on track. And, I've coached hundreds of women, and I can't even tell you how many times I've heard oh my God, I'm so off track. Oh my God, I fell off the wagon. Oh my God, everything is just falling apart. And I totally get it. And so today we're going to dive into what happens and how to get on and stay on track. And just because things are falling off doesn't mean you're failing. And I know it's really easy to get caught up in the emotion of that versus adding in some logic behind that. And the part of the wagon, if you will, the track, if you will, it's all part of the process. So buckle up. Grab your coffee, grab your water, whatever the heck, even your green juice, and let's sit down. And we do 5 easy ways to get back on track without even skipping a beat. First of all, you are not off track, right? So let's shift your mindset. And that mindset comes from everything has to be done in an exact specific order. If it's not done in an exact specific order, it's crap, it's shit. And I get that. We grew up in diet culture, and diet culture told us if we did not take the exact steps, if we didn't do step 1, step 2, step 3, then it was not going to work. And that's not the case. It doesn't mean that if I skip step 2, that I have to completely overhaul, burn down my plan. So that mini mindset shift is that let's pick one thing to focus on. Maybe the plan has 10 steps. I get that. The best way I like to liken it is, have you ever taken a piece of furniture from IKEA, right? You bought a piece of furniture from IKEA and it has like 500 steps, and you lay out all the pieces, you lay out the instructions, and inevitably, the first time you put together a piece of IKEA furniture, or maybe the 20th time you put together a piece of IKEA furniture, there's a piece that looks like figure A and looks like figure C, and they look about the same. And you can't really decipher which is which. So maybe you mix it up and you put figure C with figure D, and it's not supposed to be there. And then you are going through and you have this extra part. You're like, God dang, what did I do? That's exactly the mindset. You don't just be like, this bookcase is shit, and you throw it out with the trash. No, you're like, okay, where did I mess up? And that's what I'm going to ask. Where did I mess up? Because what I see is that so many people are trying to get it just right? Take all the steps without kind of asking yourselves, maybe trying to put together a bookshelf I'm not ready for that right now. Maybe I just need to focus on gathering books. Right? Maybe that's what I need to do. So let's pick one thing to focus on and do that until that feels good. Before we dive in, let me ask you, are you stuck? in the why isn't this working cycle. You've been eating clean, working out, maybe even skipping that beloved glass of wine. Yet that stubborn belly fat is sticking around like you owe it money. Sound familiar? Here's the deal. It's not your fault. After 40, your body changes the rules of the game, and most of us are left guessing. But guess what? I've got the playbook. My free lifestyle audit is designed to help you uncover what's really going on and to show you the powerful tweaks that will help you finally move the needle. Here's how it works. You send me a 3-day snapshot of your life, meals, workout, sleep. Please do not clean it up. I want to know exactly what's going on. And then from there, I will help you uncover the sneaky little habits that may be holding you back and identify the simple tweaks that'll finally get your body to play nice. Imagine waking up and feeling lighter, no longer feeling stuck, and together we'll create a clear, doable action plan to get your body working with you and no longer against you. So if this speaks to you, click the link in the show notes and claim your free lifestyle audit. Let's crack your code and start seeing some real lasting results. You in? Let's get it done. It's probably going to go slower than you want. And I know everyone here is like, girl, I got weight to lose. I'm going on vacation, blah, blah, blah. I get that. I totally understand that. And I'm not discounting that. I have the patience of a gnat. But I also know that when I try to do 500 things, it falls apart. I can't cram that much crap into my brain. And if I do try to cram that much crap into my brain, guess what? I'm going to forget shit. Absolutely. I am going to forget shit. And I can't beat myself up on it because I'm trying to learn something new. It's like if I was trying to learn Spanish. It is on my bucket list, and I promise you I'm going to learn Spanish. But Spanish has been on my bucket list for a really long time, but I haven't made it a priority to learn Spanish. I'm still stuck with my broken high school Spanish. But I digress. But I'm not going to say I'm going to be fluent in Spanish in 30 days. Like, I know that that's impossible. But we put the pressure on ourselves that in 30 days, I'm going to lose 300 pounds. I'm sorry. If you were to lose 300 pounds in 30 days, you're probably on some type of extreme diet that isn't going to last you forever. So pick one thing and focus on that till you get good. So maybe it's like drinking more water, right? Taking a daily 15-minute walk, prepping your meals, even if it's prepping just one meal. Like, I'm not a meal prepper like I used to be. I only prep lunch so that in the middle of the day, I don't have to think about, oh, dang, I got to cook something. What do I eat? I only prep lunch. So it's just, that's all I have to worry about. I want you to know, one small win could turn into a snowball. And then that's when you get that momentum shift. That's when you're like, hey, look at me. I've daily taken that 15-minute walk for the last 60 days. Look at me go. All right, you know what? If I could do the walk, maybe now I could add the water. Or maybe now I could add whatever it is that you want to add in. But let's start small and start to build some momentum underneath our belt versus trying to do the 500 things, the walk, the water, the protein, the this, the this, the this. It can be overwhelming, especially if you have a more than busy life. Which leads to why we kind of need this mindset reset, because so many of us, hi, I'm Kim. I'm a recovering perfectionist. Yes, we're stuck in that perfection, right? We are waiting for the perfect time. I got off track because, whatever it is, work's busy chasing around my kids, busy managing aging parents, whatever it is, I'm going to wait for that perfect time, or, I need to find something else because I didn't do it perfectly. So I got to go harder. I see it all the time. This is where I know life is messy, and that's okay. All right. Own it. Own that life is never going to be smooth. The smoothest life got was during the COVID days. Remember back in the early 2000s when everyone was stuck at home and we didn't know what was happening. That was the most time anyone had. Most of us, you weren't really leaving the house. You were stuck inside. That was quietest life got. And if you didn't nail it back then, what makes you think now that life is back to full throttle, you're going to nail it nail it now and it's going to be this perfect time, because it ain't ever going to be a perfect time. So here's where we talk about how do we focus in on our progress? Like look back and, I use the analogy a lot because I think it really works. And I'm a visual person. So Jerry Seinfeld, he, when he first started in the business, he was like, if I'm going to be a comedian, comedians need jokes. So every single day I'm going to write a joke. He didn't judge the joke. He didn't revise it. He just sat down and he said, every day I'm going to write a joke. And every day I write a joke, I'm going to put an X on a calendar every day. And so every time he, so it was up in front of his face. So he got to visually see that he was taking one step towards his goal. And if I may back up for a second, number one is you have to get so clear about what your one goal is. Because I see it all the time. I've had a client come to me. My goal here is to help people with belly fat. So a client comes to me. She's like, Kim, I want to lose the belly fat. Great. Absolutely. We're losing the belly fat. But then she loses the belly fat. She's like, oh, Kim, but I didn't put on any muscle. Well, the goal was belly fat, right? So that was the number one goal. And losing weight, losing belly fat and putting on muscle don't work in tandem with each other, right? So I want us to kind of say, let's be really clear about what the one specific goal that we're trying to get to. So it's like this. I live in Boston. I want to drive to New York. Like that's my clear goal. But now some of you will be like, well, can we do a detour to Providence? And then can we do a detour to Hartford? And then can we do, we get all these detours and then we wonder why we're not getting to that ultimate goal. Or when we get to that ultimate goal, we change the measurement. Well, we're here in New York, but I should have got here in 3 hours. Why did it take 6? And we discount all the lessons that we learned along the way. So number one, be clear. Have one specific goal. If your goal is to lose belly fat, we're working on that. We're working on the belly fat. If you have a goal that you would want after that, absolutely, we can talk about that. But number one is that the gain-lose game, especially at your 40 plus, that is really, I'm gonna say it's impossible unless you are a virgin dieter. If you are not a virgin dieter, if you've been in a diet game forever, building muscle and losing weight at the same time is just, I'm going to say it's damn near impossible, again, unless you're a virgin dieter. So here's where you have to kind of say to yourself, what's the B minus? And I've talked about this before. Instead of me always trying to get the extra credit and trying to sprint to the finish line, what is going to give me the B minus? And so if I didn't, if I told myself I was going to work out 5 days a week and I only got 4, be okay with that. And what I work with my clients on is what I call good, better, best, right? Because this is one of the ways that I was able to help break my perfectionism and way to help my clients break their perfectionism is good, better, best, right? So this is my way of going for the B minus. So I would say, what is my best week? What is the all-time best week? So for me, my best week working out is 5 days a week. If I work out 5 days a week, A+. Now, I got a life. Life happens to me too. Then what's the next step down? And I say 4 days a week. And then my total bare minimum non-negotiable is 3 days a week. And based on my life, this is not me giving you the edict. I want you to look at your life and say, what can I do? What does good, better, best look like for me in your life? And in that one thing. So if you work, that's workouts. If I'm working on water and I am not drinking any water right now, I'm not going to say I'm going to drink 4 of these. For those of you guys not watching the video, I'm holding up a water bottle. I'm not going to say I'm going to wake up on Monday morning and I'm going to drink 4 of those, especially if I'm not drinking 1. So I would say my bare minimum is 1. That's my bare minimum. Better, 2. And my best would be 3. And so that way I'm working my way up to it so that eventually when this 1 becomes easy, I'm like, boom. All right. Maybe 1 no longer becomes my non-negotiable and 2 becomes my non-negotiable. But it's not, I'm trying to push myself into this habit, right? Habits take time. And, I think for so many years we've been told, oh, it's 21 days to build a habit. There's been studies that shows it's about 66 days for you to build a habit. So every 60 days for whatever new thing you're starting, revisit, right? Revisit and be like, okay, how am I doing? Am I just always hitting the bare minimums? Have I had a couple days where I've, gotten more? If we go back to the workout example, is every week I'm at 3. And if every week I'm at 3, then I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'm just being too aggressive with myself, or maybe I'm I'm not doing well with my time management, or maybe I'm like, you know what, Kim, it's the season of life you're in that, maybe it's a season I'm traveling a lot. Maybe it's a season that I'm, busy with clients. And maybe it's also, I kind of look at my priorities like, ooh, am I not, scheduling time for myself? And guilty, I've been guilty of prioritizing work, clients, and other things ahead of me. And that's part of my perfectionism. Like, I want to be the perfect coach. And so that means I always have to be available. And one of the things that I learned from my own personal burnout was that I needed to have Kim time and make Kim time sacred. And I do have Kim time, and Kim time is very sacred. And it takes a very special snowflake to push me out of Kim time. So ask yourself, as you kind of start to reflect on what your non-negotiables are, reflect on your good, better, best, and we're not hitting them. Here's where we start to get logical. What's happening? What's going on? Am I trying to nail it all the time? Or maybe there's something really going on. Maybe I'm trying too hard for something that's I'm just not there just yet. I'm not saying that you suck at it. I'm just saying right now, like, I still got some work to do. Or maybe you're like, oh, my season of life, it's just, there's so many other things swirling around me that maybe I might need to reassess what's going on. Not quit, just reassess the goal that I gave myself, because I see it. All of you are overachievers. I feel that. And you're like, you don't want to feel like you have to nail it. It's all about how do we find our equilibrium, right? I don't want to talk about balance. I want to say equilibrium. I like to think about life as being on a seesaw, right? And some days life, you're like riding high, and then sometimes life comes at you and you're not riding as high, but we have to figure out how do we take off some of that load so we can have that equilibrium on that seesaw. And to do that, a lot of times, like, we can't see the trees for the forest. So that's when you get an accountability partner, right? That was a game changer. And trust me, it could be a friend. It could be a coach. I am one, just so you know. And heck, it could be your dog. They're great listeners. Your cat, your hamster, they're great listeners. But having someone check in with you, I was recently talking with a new client, and she's like, well, one of the reasons why I'm looking to hire a coach is that I need the accountability. I know that if you're looking over my shoulder, I'm going to, stay on track. And she's like, I'm going to stay on track, but I'm also going to figure out what the track looks like that I'm supposed to be on. So it's having someone check in with you that can make a difference. And it can look different for everyone. I have a business person that I check in with, and once a week we just text each other like, what's the goal for the week? And we text back. I too have a coach that I'm working with, and like once a week we're like, okay, what's going on? And I tell her what's going on, and she's like, all right, let's make this change. Or like, hey, life's good. Let's keeping on, right? So it's just someone who looks over your shoulder, but it's also someone who's like, if you are trying to go for the A++, if you're trying to cram in too much into your life, your coach is that person, the friend is that person who's like, hey girl, do you think you're trying to take on too much? Or when you're not doing anything, be like, hey, what's going on? Like, what's keeping you from, getting into action? And this is all said with love. And then maybe it's time to spice things up. I like routine, but sometimes if we've been doing the same routine for a really long freaking time, it could suck the fun right out of it. So if your workout feels stale, your meals feel stale, maybe it's time to mix it up. And, I know for the women who have worked with me, current clients, they're like, oh my God, Kim and her mixing up her food. Abso-freaking-lutely. I am a big fan of mixing up your food. Here's why. One, digestion. You want to challenge your digestion to be able to learn how to digest all the foods so that we can minimize, unless you have true food sensitivity, learn how to digest all the foods. Second, for flavor profile, because I know that when I was competing, one of the things I did, I ate the same shit every single week after week after week. I ate the same shit. I could tell you what my menu looked like because I ate the same shit every single day. I had oatmeal with egg whites and some type of berry, and I put flax seeds on it. I had a apple and a shake for a snack. I had chicken wrapped with pickles and mustard. And I would have tuna in a wrap. And then I would have another apple with a protein shake. And then I would have some type of protein, vegetable, and a starch. And every other day I would have a starch for dinner. That's what I ate every single day for about 5. Actually, let's be honest, I probably ate it for like 10 years. So why I ask you to is because whenever I would go out to dinner or I would stop competing, I would lose my shit. And I would just go go crazy. I was like a sailor on shore leave, right? It was just like, if a food wasn't nailed down, it was going in my mouth. So this is why I tell you to eat different foods. Because 1, you don't act like a sailor on shore leave. 2 is that when I crave variety, and when I say variety, most people think I want them to be like freaking Martha Stewart. I am not asking you to be like Martha Stewart. I'm asking you that when you go there, like how I could have changed up that meal, the meal I just gave you. So instead of every week having oatmeal. So if you love oatmeal, great, rock on. So have the oatmeal, have the egg whites, change the fruit. I could have changed the berries. I could have changed the berries. I could have had fruit. I could have had any fruit that I wanted in there. I could have had oranges in there. I could have had apples, right? Change some for flavor profile. I could have changed the good fat. So some portion of that meal changed. So I didn't have to overthink what I was having. It was like, if I kept something the same, but I changed something, some portion of that. Instead of flax seeds, if I put in almonds, I could have put in chia seeds, right? So I just changed some portion of it. And I wasn't changing it every week. Like once I ran out of flax seeds, then I would put in chia seeds. So I'm not asking you to like have 500 things in your cupboard and spend $1 million. Like I get that. Like we don't want to have, I know I don't want to have this big pantry full of food that's going to go bad. That's not what I'm saying. It's like adding those little things to mix things up. The same thing with your workout. Now, with this said, workouts don't need to change every day. Muscle confusion is not a thing, right? That is something that it sells you on a program. I'm a big believer in progressive workouts, like structured progressive workouts, so that you are every 4 to 6 weeks, you are adding more weight, right? So every 4 to 6 weeks, you are, changing your workout, and the workouts are pretty basic, right? Boring is boring. They're the same style workouts, but you've changed the format a little bit. So in every workout I design for my clients in the Fit Girl Magic Society, we start with plyometric exercises. And we start with plyometric exercises because women need to be explosive, right? That helps us to build muscle, that helps us to like get up when we fall later in life. And then there is some type of push exercise, there's some type of pull exercise, there's some type of hinge exercise, there's some type of squat exercise, and then there is a core exercise. And then I throw in some form of cardio. That is the basic of exercise. So your workout should include that. And I break that up into a 3-day split so that most of the time, my clients are getting full body exercises 3 days a week, and they can repeat things based on how much time they have. Now, if I'm someone who is going to classes, work with the instructor to understand, like, are they doing upper body one day, lower body one day? Are they mixing it up? Understand how the format goes so that you're able to, as you're might be doing other things, you're able to supplement here, there, and everywhere. So that I understand class, right? I still teach group fitness classes, and I understand why you go to class. It's like you want someone to tell you what to do. You want someone to tell you what to do, and you also want the camaraderie, like the feeling like, okay, we're all in this together. And if I'm in one of the classes, one of the best pieces of advice I can give you is that don't always just reach for the same weight every single time you go to that class. I want you to, every 4 weeks, see if you can lift something heavier than what you've been doing. And again, work with the person who's teaching the class to be like, hey, this is what my goal is. Because trust me, they know stuff, right? They know more than whatever it is you think they know. And if they don't know, someone else in that gym knows how to help you hit your goals. So mix it up, right? So even if it's like you're working out on your own, mix up the playlist. I know me, I have like a 26-hour Spotify playlist that it just never goes out of style. I also like to listen to podcasts while I work out. So feel free to just inject some excitement. That's what can reignite your motivation, because you know how I feel about motivation. It's not going to ring your doorbell and be like, hey girl, get in the car. That's just not going to happen, right? Think about what your why was. Why are you doing this? Why do you want to, be healthier? And think about it every single day, especially, I live here in New England, and at 5:30 in the morning, it's dark, it's cold, and the last thing I want to do is get my tushy out of bed. And finally, here's where I think most of us fall apart. We don't celebrate enough. I see most of you beating the tar out of yourself about what you didn't do, but I don't ever see you saying, what's one really awesome thing I did, right? What's 2 awesome things I did? Find ways to celebrate. Like every step forward, no matter how small it is, deserves for you to be like, hey, I got through my 1 bottle of water today. Rock on me. Hey, I got in my 10,000 steps today. Way to go, me. Hey, I got 7 hours of sleep last night. Way to go, me. Whatever it is, celebrate it. Hey, do a little happy dance if that brings you joy. Whatever it is, treat yourself to a bubble bath, whatever brings you joy. These celebrations, these are the positive reinforcements to help you stay on track. And if you don't stay on track, reevaluate. Was I being too aggressive with my goal? Right? Because it's like, the more I want to feel rewarded than restricted. And the more I feel like, hey, I'm doing stuff, the more I want to do it. Or the more I feel like, oh, this is hard, I'm never going to do it, the less likely I am wanting to do it. So I've given you 5 simple ways to get back on track and keep the momentum going. You are, doing a mini reset, doing a mindset reset, and just really kind of asking yourself, like, what am I truly focusing on? What is my true goal? And are the steps I'm taking leading up to that? I'm no longer going to try to be perfect. Stop being perfect Patty. Perfect Patty, she's dead to us, right? We don't want to be perfect Patty anymore. Find support. Find that accountability partner who can look over your shoulder and help you to sort out when you're trying to be perfect Patty, or trying to do, trying to squeeze 300 activities into an 8-hour day. Spice things up. Food, routine, mix up that playlist. Give yourself something. They're giving you several examples on how to mix things up. Celebrate the heck out of the small stuff. It doesn't have to be, I'm only going to celebrate when I check every single box, right? Good luck with that, because you're probably not going to celebrate a whole hell of a lot of times. And falling off track doesn't define you. So it doesn't mean like you have to lay there like a turtle on your back and be like, oh, I'm never going to get back on track. It's just a pit stop. here's where I just have to be okay, pause. How did that happen? What happened? CSI, right? Go into your crime scene investigator. How did that happen? And be okay. And just give yourself that grace. You are in the driver's seat, and it's never too late to steer yourself back to your goals. And if this episode resonated with you, please share it with a friend who might need a pep talk. And, I feel like all of you have it within you to have what you want. And I think for most of us, we just need to slow our rolls. Most of us think that we can have it, as quickly as I just snap my fingers. And sadly, no, that's just not the case. All right, Magic Makers, enjoy the rest of your day. And if you have any questions, do me a favor, hit me up. I am always here for you. My DMs are always wide open for you. All right, talk to you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Fit Girl Magic podcast. If you've made it this far, yay. I'm thinking you enjoyed the show. Let's continue the conversation on Instagram. You can find me at Kim Jefferson Coach. In order for me to keep sharing this message, do me a favor and leave me a 5-star review on iTunes. While you're there, don't forget to subscribe so that you won't miss an episode. New episodes are available every Wednesday. The Fit Girl Magic podcast is intended to provide you with tips, tools, and strategies that will help you make better decisions about your health. I really appreciate your feedback and your support. Thank you so much.